You just say what you just said.
I just said people don't like the episodes where I just talk.
No, but I just want to listen to you today. I just don't even want to make like even guttural sounds or I don't know, guttural sounds like mouth sounds, you know, like I usually do, like, you know.
Yeah, well.
But now that you press the red button, it's like an automatic
talking button for you.
It's fucking weird. It is. I'm going to practice my listening skills today.
Good luck.
If I practice my listen to babe, good luck, babe. That's a Chappelle Rowan song.
Yeah, look at you. You do listen.
I do listen. I listen mainly after I listen to the podcast. Like I go, Tim had some good points then. Yeah. Like not in the moment.
Yeah, you're not a good active listener.
I honestly think I have autism or my ADHD brain. Yeah. I haven't been diagnosed for any of these things, as like I've repeatedly told people on this, but I do know when I take my children's medication that I do somehow feel better.
Aren't children the ones that are supposed to be taking other people's medication, not the other way around?
No.
Not parents. Like, it seems a bit weird to steal your own kid's medication.
It's not that I'm stealing, I'm doing it in front of them. Like,
what lesson are they learning?
I give them their medication and then I
have a little bit for yourself.
Have a little bit for myself.
Tax, little pharmaceutical tax.
Yeah. Not a lot.
Well, I haven't noticed any difference
in my listening. Yeah. No, like you said to me, like around the time I never told you when I started taking it, but you was like, "Hey, Mel's, like you not as annoyed. I can hear it." Or you just worked me out. You're just being nice. Sorry, I'm angry today.
Well, I'm a little bit angry too, but I don't know whether or not that's because of you being angry, because I tend to mirror people's emotions.
No, this is a lie because you said to me you were angry. Like
yeah, but you said first that you were angry, and then I said, "Well, I'm
a little angry today."
Too. Yeah, yeah.
I never asked you why.
No, I think you did. I think I just skirted around the question.
You do that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've actually noticed this when I listen back to these podcasts. I go,
that I never answer your questions.
You edit them out completely.
Yeah,
like it's like I forgot that they were there. Do you know what I mean?
This is why I really enjoy the editing process, because I'm always fascinated as to whether or not you notice how much I cut out of our conversation. Of your conversation.
No, I do notice. I trigger it. I go, what? Didn't we talk about Khaled? What's his name? Khaled
Subsabi,
yeah. We said that you were in the show with him.
That was in the last one.
Did you actually put it in? You know that you were in the show with him. You took that bit out.
I'm taking that bit out.
Yeah. I don't know why you took that bit out. You don't like the things that make you look really like your ego, like you've done some amazing things.
Anyway, so do you ever got some story times?
No. No story times today. I can't think of any.
You said that you had two really good ones.
I did, but I can't remember them. Like I can't remember.
It's like the one job that you have to do.
I know, but like this is a part 3, isn't it?
Part 3, yeah, this is part 3.
So we've already done the story time in the first
I
and
fucking
second
came
one.
with the story time.
Oh, please do.
I feel like there's me willfully taking on extra labor has meant that I've even now taken over story time.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, yeah, whatever.
I'm slowly just going to be listening to this, and you'll just be mentioning my name. And this would be like
maybe you won't even be sitting here in a few episodes time.
It will be called DB1 because I'm the 0
and I'm the 1.
You're the 1.
I'm the we.
You are it. And the art, like no,
you did the one before last as well.
Okay. Did you know that it was AI?
Yeah,
our faces.
Your one. Yeah.
Like, but I put it was really weird because I mocked it up exactly the same like what we saw.
Yeah.
Put it through and I didn't even give it a prompt. Like I was like,
that's just what it did to my face or your face.
Yeah. I was like, so it was almost like I was trying to think of it like Alvin's work, talking into the microphone.
Oh, Alvin Lucier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like first name basis. I know you're the second name basis guy.
I'm more formal than you are.
You are. Like, if I see Alvin, I'm going to go, hey, Alvin. I'm not going to go, hey, Lucia.
Do you think he's Al though or Alvin?
I think he's Alvin.
Yeah, he probably is Alvin.
He looks like an Alvin.
Yeah.
And he does say, I am Alvin Lucier
the
fucking artwork.
With a stutter.
Yeah. I love that stutter.
Yeah.
I feel like I've got like a similar thing.
You're incomprehensible.
Well, I've just got like a lisp ever since like I got my wisdom teeth, one of my wisdom teeth taken out. They've grown and pushed my teeth. That's why I'm so ugly. I'm like deformed in my face, right? It caused a lisp, and it caused like I feel like it's caused something in my mouth that I'm very conscious about. Yeah, this is why I drink milk.
What?
I don't know. I feel like milk also makes my tongue stick to the roof of my mouth when I talk.
Well, milk does give you that little like
it's a disgusting
stickiness.
thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. That's what Julia Kristeva talks about in Powers of Horror, and the milk. She talks specifically about the curdled milk, like the skim on milk. You know, that little skin that forms across milk, and
it's a really weird thing that it has a memory. Like when you think about it, now, it could be 6 a.m. We don't even have a coffee yet, and we can think about that milk, and you just know. Yeah,
that's what abjection is supposed to be about. But that's also Kleinian, and like her idea of the baby taking the milk as your first fantasy. Your first fantasy is, according to Klein, is from the stomach, is internal rather than external. And the fantasy of like the hungry stomach that is then satiated by the milk. Because with Klein, it's the good and bad object, like the good and bad breast is the famous one. But actually the first one that the baby encounters is the good and bad stomach, which is the empty stomach or the full stomach. And so you have this recognition within yourself as there's this object inside you, this like thing that needs to be satiated, and you have like the fantasy of the fact that it could be satiated through the milk and through the mother. And so our first fantasy, our first like understanding of lack comes from hunger, and therefore milk and the sensation of milk like on your tongue is like our first sensation, right? It's our first like bodily consumptive sensation. This is why then Kristeva picks it up. There's a reason why milk has such a strong memory.
So like link to that. So milk has a strong memory. We relate it to the gut health, gut memory now.
Yeah.
Probiotics, Nestle.
Yeah. Well, the replacement of milk.
Yeah.
Like with a different type of mother.
Yeah.
Different type of bad breast, which would be Nestle. I go for a walk every night after my kids are asleep, and near where I live, not to dox myself, there are two up on the mountain behind there. There you can see two lights. There's one in the corner there, one there. They are two lookout points that both have function halls on them. That one is derelict, hasn't been used since like the 80s or something. Fucking knows. And then the other one is, why are you touching my leg?
I was talking before about like I like making the artwork, and now you know this is going to be the artwork for the episode.
Maybe I might cut this out. You don't know. I can see the way.
Like, I can see how you're moving in. This is it. Anyway, what do you see, Tim? You see two lights.
All right, so I see two lights. Fucking hell, Mel. Jeez.
No, that's what's going on in my. This is my ADHD brain. I'm looking at this artwork going, it's a fucking.
It's not an artwork. It's not a fucking artwork.
It's a great image. It's a really good image.
Because every time I make slides, you're always like, "Where are the images?"
Yeah,
so I took an image.
I like this. We should respond to images rather. I like. Okay.
Well, here's an image.
Yep.
Here's an image, all right? Yeah. So, the one on the left is a functional function center that has like views out over blah, 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 blah. That tiny one there, yes. And every weekend it has weddings, right? And so when you walk out at night on the weekend, you can see like the fucking disco ball, like whatever.
Playing Nutbush.
Yeah. And then about 100 meters up the road is this disused one, right? It's maybe a bit more than 100 meters.
Yep.
Let's say, what do you reckon? Half a K.
Yeah.
It's a beat. And so...
Why is the light on?
I'll get to this. Okay. I've always found this kind of interesting in that like you have a wedding venue, and then up the road, the ex-wedding venue that's now derelict, that's become a beat. The reason the lights are on there is because about once a month, I started to notice what I originally thought was a disco ball at this old site. And then, and the lights on and stuff like that. And it was always like on a Monday night or a Tuesday night, something weird like that. Like not a weekend. It's the cops, and it's the cop light of their car. And they come in and they police the beat, like once a month.
Ah.
So if you know this site, I've now noticed over the last 6 months or so, they only ever do it on Monday night. So don't go there on Mondays.
Have you thought about this?
Probably not.
The cops want to like
get involved.
Yeah,
definitely. And but this is what I'm interested in. I'm interested in this doppelganger of these two wedding venues, where one you have the disco light of the moment of marriage, and then up the road with Nutbush, and then up the road you have a different Nutbush of the beat that is like operating, and then it's then policed in this kind of strange once a month lights again by the cops, who are really just like, obviously the fact that it's so regular, the way they do it is like, oh, we're performing just like the marriage, we're performing this policing of this site such that it can continue because everyone knows how it's supposed to operate. So I'm interested, because this is part 3 of how men fuck each other. I'm interested in the relationship between these two scenic sites, these two sites that are supposed to be like look out over the world. On the left we have the site of heteronormative marriage, and on the right we have the site where men can fuck each other. And I'm interested in how both of these operate together.
Beats are strange places because men are strange. Men are, so it doesn't matter.
Anywhere there were men gathered is strange.
It's strange. Like, you know, a Bulldogs football game at Belmore Stadium is strange, right? Yeah. It's like a beat where you bring your children to watch beat.
Men hit each other. Beat each other.
Beat each other. That's all I want to say. Petersham Park was a beat, you know, around where the stadium is, where Bradman took his first like hit of the ball, because you go up there. Me and my children broke in one day and climbed the fence.
After you took their meds.
After I took their meds, I know. I forced them to actually break in and open the gate. You know, and
get under their little hands.
And then they get the like, oh, I did that. You know, it's really cool. And then I'm up there and I go, this used to be a beat. Or is it still a beat? I don't know. Because we'd go running at 5 a.m, because I never run. Just heard from other runners that it was a beat. But beats are dead, right?
No, they're still in operation.
Yeah.
There aren't, or I don't think there are as many, and I'll explain why that is.
Can't you just like jump online and go, hey, let's just
have to meet somewhere?
Yeah, okay, because it's labor, because it costs to meet somewhere.
Yeah.
So you don't want to pay.
You don't want to pay for a hotel room.
Yeah.
So I guess like beats
you're right.
More distributed maybe, because you could like arrange. It's easier to like the arrangement part. The beat used to be you'd go to the beat to meet someone.
Yeah.
But now you can obviously meet someone online first and then go somewhere. But you're still going to usually to beats or to like known places. Yeah. Semi-known places.
Okay, that's interesting.
So they do still exist. I'm going to talk about Berlant and Warner Sex in Public, which is an article that explains why there aren't as many beats anymore, particularly in New York.
This is really interesting. I love beats. I love the song Beat Boy, Play the Perfect Beat Boy.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know that song? No. Beat Boy, play the perfect beat boy. It's from the 80s.
Okay.
You don't know that song?
I was a fucking minuscule child.
Yeah, but like if you listen to the radio, like it's like you like
I probably do. You're probably just singing it shit.
Beat boy, play the perfect beat boy, beat boy, hit the perfect beat. I don't know, or play the perfect beat. It's all about a beat.
Okay.
I didn't know that because it's got the double on top. Like beats.
Beat could be something else.
Song and beat boy, but it's all about beats. If I sport that for
the last song that you tried to sing, I tried to find the fucking song.
Which one was that?
I can't even remember because I couldn't find it. You were singing it, and I Shazammed it. I fucking put the lyrics in, and nothing came up.
Do you have a phone with reception? Beat Boy. Like
I believe that.
Like, I know. I'm going to play this for everyone. Sorry. Why do you get rid of the internet all the time? It's
like I didn't open the fucking internet.
Yeah, no, I was watching. I for the viewers
I didn't close that.
Did you? Not.
No, I did not.
Sorry, I now am gaslighting you. Sorry. I do this to everyone. Beat Boy.
You play it because I need to piss.
Okay. Really?
Yeah.
Okay. But wait. Before you piss. Okay, go piss. Go.
So you can't find it. I am
no
fucking references.
Here we go. Song by it's Bronski Beat. Okay, Beat Boy by Bronski Beat. which is obvious because I thought it was the communards, but obviously they turned into the communards, Tim. Did you hear that? No, you didn't hear that. That's because you have gone to the toilet and we're supposed to have a code name for the toilet, but no code for the toilet. Is there a volume on this thing? The sound not coming out. But this is okay. I've always wanted to do one of these podcasts by myself without Tim and have like Bronski Beat played behind me, because this is how I grew up and this is my identity and I'm a kid from the 80s and it's what I love. It's how I express myself. How I express myself to the world is through this contemporary version of Beat Boys and, Pet Shop Boys and other boys, you know what I mean? Beat Boy. I got the feeling. I was singing this, right? Like, for all of you out there, I was singing this. I got the feeling. Beat boy, hit that perfect beat, boy. Beat boy, hit that Bronski Beat. It's Bronski Beat.
I've never heard this.
I can't believe Tim has not heard of Bronski Beat, and I'm ashamed to be his friend right now.
Well, now you know how I feel.
I think we have to listen to this whole song, even though it's not copyrighted, and we're going to get it through somehow.
How are we going to get it through? We're talking over
because it's on playing in the background. We're not playing it. Like it's like in the background of the street that we're on right now. Like with our voices in front of us,
Yeah.
So
it'll be fine.
This is like the radio. We've hit the radio now. We're playing music. I like this. Ring up for a request, guys. I've always wanted to
Actually, I do want to do requests. I like requests, but not music requests, just requests for us to do something.
Yeah. This is like ontology.
You love that word.
I don't know why I've said it twice now.
It's very ontological of you. Oh, well, thanks for that.
That's okay. That's what we should do from now on is play songs when we go to toilet.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Go toilet.
When we go toilet, we play song. Song for you, song for me.
I think that's the first time I've racially stereotyped you. Well, that's probably not true. I probably do it all the time.
What was that, a racial stereotype? I thought I actually speak like that. Were you being racially... You be raciul?
Yeah, I was.
Welcome to Australia, everyone.
I feel like I've been very mean today.
For those people that are listening from overseas...
We're sorry. I'm sorry.
This is how we speak. I know it's hard. Like, you can transcribe this and it will come up in English for you who... For you who do not understand the accent of go to toilet, racial discrimination is a real thing. Multiculturalism is a dead word, is a horrible word that exists. And we are talking about beats.
Yep. Thank you for that musical interlude.
Thank you.
All right. So in this work, this is Inheritance from 2021. Sadie recreates her childhood living room, so I'm gonna connect this to Sex in Public, which is a 1997 article by Berlant and Warner, very famous in queer theory, and it opens with the line, "There is nothing more public than privacy." And in that text, obviously, it's about heterosexual culture, which is based on privatization, sovereignty, and nationalism, the whole kind of notion of the home as castle, which is only available, obviously, to a particular class and race, and that these ideas, these very notions of like privatization and sovereignty are exactly what constitutes the public, right? That's how heterosexual culture manifests in public space. However, that notion that the private space is sovereign is obviously only applicable to actually a very small middle upper class white audience, right? Bleached audience, right? Where the cops don't turn up, or if they turn up, you don't have to let them in, or social services don't turn up when you shout at your kid. You know, like I remember a friend of mine living near me, and purely because they were on a street that was perpendicular to mine, that was 90% social housing, they had a kid, and the kid was like shouting as kids do, and then social services turned up, right? Just because they were on that street. And I had a kid on a perpendicular street, and nothing like that ever happened or would happen. And they were told it was because you were on that street. So anyway, so obviously the very notion of privacy and who's like how the state is allowed or not allowed in is dependent on bleachness.
Yeah.
And for Barnett, the living room was particularly open because it was her dad who formed the Compton chapter of the Black Panthers, and her living room had been bugged the entire time by the FBI. However, the living room itself is also this kind of strange semi-public, semi-private space. I remember this in like when I first moved out of home at 19, 18, and I was in, you usually either in a share house or like I was in like a little studio apartment, and that strangeness of where do people sit when you have friends over, because it was like literally I didn't have a couch, I had a bed and one room, and I was like, oh, I guess we're sitting on the bed together. That's just what you do. I always had like obviously in a family home I had a living room, and so that's where you would meet. So there's like this interesting kind of like transitional space of the living room as a space that's like semi-public and semi-private, and also a space of leisure.
When you were living with these people that you were living with at the time, the share house, did you know them?
I knew like one of them, but not the other.
So the living room was a weird place that was just an empty room. No one would go to it. And it was dirty, filled with people's stuff and all that stuff. I've been to friends' houses. I remember like back then, obviously, because it's been such a long time, where I would go to people's places that were sharing houses with people that I didn't really know, and I'd say, hey, let's hang out in the living room, and they were like, no. And if I would force those situations, like to hang out in the living room. And you sit on the couch and all this dust would like plume up because no one just goes in there. And I just remember like if the flatmate would come through, they would always look annoyed, like, what are you doing on my like couch? Awkward, or like walk through and then want to walk away and stuff like that. It's like, well, how could you live in these situations? Like, I want to cook together. I want to talk to, like, I want to go into the other person's room and sit down on their bed and what are you doing today? Like, I know I'm, look, it's called like just, I don't know. It's just called creating a family, right? Like creating.
You're a good little socialist.
Yeah. There's a lot of...
No, I've never had that experience in a share house. It was always like the two spaces, you'd use the kitchen out of necessity, obviously.
Yeah.
But the spaces you'd have guests in or like friends around, you'd either be in your bedroom or you'd be in the backyard. I distinctly remember that's most of the time was spent in the backyard smoking and drinking. But you wouldn't do that in the living room. I don't know why the backyard operates differently.
So there was no smoking houses?
No, you could smoke inside as well, but we wouldn't, like you said, it would feel awkward to be in the living room.
Yeah.
But if you had friends over, you'd take them to the backyard.
Yeah. And the living room's always like the heart of the place, right? It's in the middle. You have to pass through it to get anywhere else. Yeah. That's what I like about it. It's weird, isn't it? Weird. The structure of living.
Yeah.
I'd like to know, you've talked about the public space a lot, and I never get it. I never understand it.
What do you mean?
Like, I understand it, and I understand the concept of the public space. And I do this to people, like I just go, what is public space? Just the notion of, does it exist?
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
So, good question. Thanks, Mel. Thanks for asking, Mel.
Yeah.
So actually...
This is an interview.
Interview time with Mel. So the public, to me, and this is, I actually want to go on to talk about this. The public space is, for me, is defined as the space in which men can fuck each other. So that is actually what public space is. As such, there's nothing public about it. It is just the zone of and for men and the expression of their desire. The structure of public space is the structure of male desire. Yeah.
So there's no public, right?
There's no. Well, it depends what you mean by public. If you mean like an actual like shared space of ethos and experience, and that doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't exist anymore. Okay, cool.
Whether or not, at least it doesn't exist within with any system that we would recognize. So this is the Sadie Bennett work again, but where she 20 years later or 10 years later goes back through FOI documents and gets an archive of her domestic life through these like transcripts of everything that was recorded through these FBI documents. And I like this as a kind of like as a public, if you like, because this is like FBI men listening in on the conversations that are happening in her living room and on her as a kid, right? All the things that she was saying as a kid, that like if the family photograph album is like the heteronormative heterosexual cultural version of how one archives one's like normativity, then for her archive of her youth is the FBI documentation. What I'm trying to get to here is this like jump between the family and then public space, which doesn't exist, and then the thing that does exist above that is the state, is the nation state. And so I'm interested in how the public that's not public is purely in support of the nation state and of the family and the family home. And so we actually, and that's why like socialism or communism or community doesn't exist, because it literally doesn't have a space. Like community can't exist in public because the public is always in the service of the FBI on the one hand, the state, the violent structures of the state itself, and the notion of the nation state, and of protecting and isolating the family home as the like normative unit. So it's that, again, said it many times, the Thatcher idea, no such thing as society, there are only individuals and families. But of course, the other thing there is, and the state, right? Yeah. Yeah. So there's individuals, families, and somehow those individuals and families form, not through community, that at some point they conglomerate to a point of nationalism and patriotism, and they appear as a state that must be protected. And all those three things must be protected. So I like this work because it does both, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's both the intimate domestic and the state at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. It reminds me of Archie Moore's work, Kith and Kin.
Yeah.
In a similar sense, where the documentation's floating on that pool that you can't touch. I love how there's a barrier where you can't touch it because they're all coroner reports. What do you call it when there's a commission? There's a Royal Commission. So I think they're reports from the Royal Commission were handed to the Royal Commission.
Yeah.
And there's the blank documents of people that are actually there. But what I really like about it is his personal, well, I won't say personal. I hate the word personal. It's almost like public or, or private or, which these things really don't exist, especially when there's an audience. But his creative drawings of tracing back his family tree 60,000 years, behind it. So these two different structures of mapping going on in that liminal space, that living room space that we all pass through. Yeah, it's a beautiful work, and it kind of does remind me of that. One of the things that you said that that really interests me is the word Black Panthers. And when we like link our histories to these glorifications of something that we struggled against, but now today we use as this kind of like a pornographic, exotic, like you say the word Black Panther and you think of or you say the word of the daughter of, right, who is maybe in their 40s now, right? Yeah. This glorification of a struggle, do you know? Yeah. This glorification, we exotify the vulnerabilities and the descent of the kid across the road that screams, who the police can just go into their house, can make art about that experience, right? Why do we like that art? Why are we drawn to that art in this weird exotic way that's sold to you? All these things are coming up in my head. Thank you, Tim, for bringing that up.
Yeah, it is an interesting point, and it goes to the examples and the art that I'm drawn to. There's definitely an exoticization of identity that I'm uncomfortable with because I have exoticized it. Yeah, and yet it is also my politics. It's I don't want to go to a bunch of white male artists to be inspired because I think politically that's not interesting, and also I don't find it that interesting. There's no exoticization for me in looking at that. But looking at someone like Sadie Barnett's work, it's it's weird because it gives me the identity politics gives me a justification for liking it. And for feeling that exoticization of like, oh, her dad was like a Black Panther. It's like,
exactly.
Like, I couldn't be that, or like, you know, I don't like that. Must have been amazing.
Yeah,
it's like, what the fuck am like, what? Like, no, like I can't. Like that's not right. And yet, it is definitely part of my desire towards the works and the desire towards the examples that I use. So I do agree. I think it's one of the really problematic parts of identity politics.
Problematic. Also, it's necessary as well. It's like it is problematic. There is like a definite paradox to that in art, which I can't figure out myself. Do you know? Like, but the paradox, like, you know, hey, that work by Archie Moore won. We're the first Australian artist. We're the first Aboriginal artist, the first Indigenous artist, the first, you know, artist that Australia's represented that won that. We can understand the trauma of the history of our Indigenous people now. But we can't do that with our immigration, our white Australia policy with Islam. Do you know what I mean? And like Khaled's work is being completely censored and not even allowed to be represented. You know?
It's literally not representative of who we are.
Is it not exotic enough? I don't understand. And I know you don't understand. I'm trying to understand where that ingrained racism for Islam comes from. Years and years of like being, like I know from the Cold War, the Russians, you know, every terrorist movie was the Russians. Do you know what I mean? Mission Impossible started off with the Russians and then it became Islam. It was before 9/11 that we started.
Well, you're looking at like the obviously like first Bush as well into Iraq and stuff like that. Like there's like at least from that point, from the fall of the, like almost immediately after the fall of the Berlin Wall, then you have like the Middle East becoming the new Russia.
But also in countries, right? Like I know in Australia, the Lebanese Civil War, we experienced, you know, like refugee status and immigration into Australia. We have a huge, you know, Lebanese community in Australia, which is part of the framework of Australian identity today, right? And, you know, Lebanon as well being a colonial state, you know, like the Paris of Beirut being the Paris of the Middle East is such a fucking colonial term. Like, who gives a fuck about Paris? Why do we have to have Paris in the Middle East? It's beautiful in its own sense, right? Just because it's been touched by some white Europeans, it's safe or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it existed a long time before Paris.
Existed way like Mesopotamia. Like my point to that being is that exotification really hasn't. It's starting to come through. I can see this notion of what's happening in Palestine right now. We're starting to get this exotification because it's so fucking horrible what's happening in the world that we're starting to almost like it's starting to become exotic. We're starting to buy it. I can see galleries for the last 2 years. Galleries are not touching what's happening in Palestine. I guarantee you're going to see an influx of like paintings with the kefir and the Palestine and watermelons and that going, hey, you know, now we're touching it because we can sell this. Like some Bresson Whitney guy is going to want to buy this shit. Some N. Smith guy is going to want to put that on. Don't beep that up.
You're never going to get represented.
I'm not going to get. I don't want representation. I know. Like I love these guys. They're my friends. You know, like I need them. But you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about, but I think that's where, and it's not as simple as this, obviously, but that's where like Archie Moore winning the Golden Lion, and then the next year Caleb Sassi being rejected. To think of it through like Jacques Rancière and Distribution of the Ostensible, they are both forms of violence. Like I mean, not only like literally in the Archie Moore, in that like you are rewarding a royal commission into deaths in custody of Aboriginal people, like which is the worst in the world, like the rates in the world,
and which has just happened recently too, right? Like the 2 deaths for stealing something in like a in a fucking Woolies or I don't know IGA. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly, right. So in other words, these are ways to like these are different colonial strategies to like accept in or reject as modes of continuing of stabilizing the structure itself, right? And so the fact that we can both celebrate Archie Moore And it took a fucking long time for Aboriginal representation at Venice as well. Let's also be like fucking clear about that, right?
And it's an amazing work.
And it is amazing work. And this is not about the work at all, right? This is about the systems that, on one hand, name that as the best work at Venice. And on the other hand, as you say, doesn't actually change the structure of violence within deaths in custody. And so like that's a way to like accept a certain narrative of that has been a long and slow time coming, and yes, in one hand we could say it's like there is some progress here and that it's visible, but on the other hand it is still a form of like containment,
violence,
and violence, right? Whereas when we talk about Palestinian art, of which Colours for Sussex is not directly, but it gets kind of folded into that. Yeah. We aren't at that point yet. I think you're right. I think we're about to be in that point. But we haven't been, and so therefore a different type of violence needs to be enacted, which is the violence of censorship and the violence of like remove of any representation or debate or discussion. To me, it is on the cards that he could be invited back. Because of how quickly like this appears to be changing on the surface.
Totally, because of the UN report of starvation, right? And we have to use children for the world to notice, right? But everyone's starving there. It's not like and we can see the narrative, and we can see like ABC starting to report on it and stuff like that. It's not about that for me. It's about art. It's about the irony of art. It's about who we get to tell.
But I also think it's fairly close to the narrative that we're now seeing out of Gaza, which is that now like whiteness is paying attention to Black death, because it's kid death, but because it's aestheticized through like the child. But the question always is like, why does it take the white viewer to consume it and to like feel it in order for it then to be represented? And that's obviously what has been screaming out of Gaza for the last 2 years.
Well, you could say 78 years.
Well, sorry.
Yeah. No, don't say it. I just wanted to point
No, absolutely.
Because that's the narrative that's going on, right?
Of course,
like, it starts from October 7th, right?
Yeah.
And ingrained another date, it's like 9/11, do you know what I mean? Like, this is the narrative.
Well, and as you just point out, like 9/11, that's a really good example where it's like, that isn't where suddenly movies swapped to Islamic terrorism or whatever, right? It had been happening forever, like go back to Orientalism, but at least since the end of the Cold War. But we like to think of it as that, as somehow it starts at that moment.
Yeah, exactly. Who's the lecturer that was at UNSW, Greek guy, older Greek guy that did the surfboards? Phil George, right?
Yeah.
Like, great artwork, great artist, right? But Phil George being a Greek Australian surfer, painting Islamic symbols on surfboards is okay for a non-Islamic person to be represented. And that was big. I think, where was that? Did that make it into one of those fairs? Like,
it was at Casula, but then but then it went around the world. Like that work was very popular.
At the same time, Vernon Arkey does the same thing, right? Like painting the surfboards and a real personal story. But I don't, and at the same time, Phil George responds to that work because of the Cronulla riots. But the guy is not even Islamic. Did that not sit with people in the, like, for me, I was like, I get it. You're this empathy with the Lebanese at Cronulla and just the blatant racism. Not to diverge, I'm going to bring it back. Isn't that cultural appropriation in an artwork?
So I wrote the catalogue essay for Phil for that for that work. Well, one of the catalogue essays for that work. And like it's sort of like the Archie Moore work, although again different. Like in that, and all the Vernon Arkey work. I'm not so interested in whether or not it was right or wrong for Phil to do that. I'm not. That's not really the point. It's more the reception.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
But this is where like the classic Australian racism comes in, where it's like he's brown enough to be put into that group, so it's okay. So there just was a lack of attention to think through what it might mean. For him to do that as an artist, and I think there are real solidarities and alliances that are there, but they require thinking. And they require like unpacking.
I remember the racism growing up in this country. It was like, oh, okay, I'm glad there's Arabic people because it takes the heat off this Greek guy. Do you know what I mean? Like the Greeks are now nice. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like this weird swapping of fucking racism. But you know, there was no real comedy for my Lebanese friends like on TV. There is now, but there wasn't like, you know, that justification of owning a label or, you know, so like the word wog or like the word whatever words that we have, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, this Sadie Barnett work is great, and FBI being like the Australian Royal Commission or when you say Black Panthers, like there was a Black Panthers movement here as well with Aboriginal people. Yeah. Like a friend of mine did a documentary on it. Anyway. This goes off. It links into male violence, and I know that we've taken it somewhere and diversed, but what's the next slide?
It's nice. We're talking about art. We don't usually talk about art.
Yeah.
We're never going to get to me jerking off in a webcam.
Can we do that, please? Can we get to you jerking off? Because that's important.
I felt really hurt there. Thanks, Mel. Well, for me to get there, it's going to take... I could either skip everything and just get there.
No, but it's all linked into like male violence, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me read this out. If you may remember from about half an hour ago, I talked about the family, and then you have this jump to the nation state, right? And it seems like community has disappeared. It's something like the example I always give is like what happened to the notion of the social after the fall of communism, and it reappeared as social media, right? And it's interesting that like we didn't have community or the social for like 20 years through the 90s and the early 2000s, but suddenly we have social media, and to me social media is that perfect crystallization of the family and the nation state, right? Because it's like a published form. Like it's like the Sadie Barnett FBI documents. We are now producing our own documents for the nation state and for the corporation, right? And so the social has like reemerged as a kind of weird, like the weird media form of nationality.
I don't even want to talk about Kanye, but like, fuck, he's
really every week.
He's really stepped up his like fucking, you know, love for the fascist regime. Fucking hell, even to the point that I've gone, man, like
even you.
I've gone, man,
Hugo Boss wearing cunt over here.
I don't know how to take this anymore. Like
you were fine to this point.
Yeah, I was fine to this point, but like, I don't know what's going on. I really don't. I really don't. Have you been on Twitter? No, Twitter X?
No.
Oh my God, that place is a weird fucking Elon Musk jungle, man. It's like you feel like something's fucked with your head algorithms, you know, when you're in that place. Anyway, don't go there. Like if you just don't go on TikTok and don't go on X and don't go on any social media.
Yeah. So this is a quote from Sex and Public. National heterosexuality is the mechanism by which a core national culture can be imagined as a sanitized space of sentimental feeling and immaculate behavior, a space of pure citizenship. A familiar mode of society displaces the recognition of structural racism and other systemic inequalities. I really like this because one of the things that is, if you like, solved by getting rid of community or the notion of community and fixating on family that is then somehow miraculously turned into a nation state, is that when you think about the family, and this is like abolish the family text that I'm thinking about, is that we don't think of it in structural terms, as in like structural sexism or structural like racism. We can identify like in public, whatever that means, right? And the left like tries to identify that and solve that, but we don't identify it within our own family, right? So we don't say like my family is sexist. It's like families might be like the labor across suburbia might be sexist, but my family is my family, right? That's my mum, that's my dad. Or like race doesn't operate in my family. Like, yes, race does operate in my family, but I don't see it as a structure within my family. And so this is what Sex and Public is saying. And the history of the reason why we do this, right, is because the family is fundamentally unequal, like at every level, not only like the power relationship between husband and wife, or married couple, or the relationship between married couple and kids, or the economic relation, or the way within which the entire economics of transfer of property, you know, all these things are unequal. They are based on the fact that your family is unique and special, and there are certain things that we will never take from you, i.e. like the transfer of property, right? And therefore you can be born into a nation state where every family is unequal. Like every family is fundamentally unequal from any other family, and yet that inequality is not the inequality we're fighting against. We're fighting against structural inequality, right? And so that's what this quote is saying here, is that like you build national heterosexuality off this understanding and this acceptance of inequality at the level of the family itself, the unit of the family itself, which allows, even if you decry racism and sexism, allows those to continue in operation at the level of the nation state and at the level of the family as kind of natural. And of course, it must operate at the level of the nation state, because if you think about it, if every family is unequal in a nation, so we accept that. That's totally fine that my neighbor can earn more than I can and they have more opportunities for their kids, can transfer wealth, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. That's natural. Well, that's like accepted. At the level of the nation, we accept the same thing, which is that nations can have different wealth. Nations can operate as a family, if you like. And it's totally fine for one nation to be unequal to another nation, right? They're the two structures that we accept as absolute. Even if we go, what there is this thing called nations, and we all kind of get together and form the UN or whatever it happens to be, and there is this thing called families, and we can expand the notion of what a family might be. We can expand the notion of what a nation might be. Maybe one day, like Palestine ends up in the UN, even though its status is currently paused as an observer status. Like so more nations can be accepted. We can be expansive and inclusive in that sense, but the fundamental inequality between nations can never be erased, because the nation is built on that notion of inequality from colonialism. And the same is true of the family itself. And all of this is for Boland and Warner is what they call national heterosexuality. Now, what I might jump to here is Jasmine Puar's Terrorist Assemblages from 2007. And in that work, that's where she introduces the notion of homonationalism.
Part of the bleaching is that heteronormative structure as well, which is, I find interesting, because when you look at collapsed families, the basis of a collapsed family, say like partners split, kids are going from one place to another, the odd family that's popping up in children's books more, or the queer family, do you know what I mean? The fluid family, that's still part of the same structure, right? So that structure, that's still, that's what's, and it's trying to fit into that structure. Still like being broken somehow, or fluid, or different. We're still comprising the family to be that structure.
Exactly right.
Right?
Exactly right.
To own a home, to do the, even if we're artists in that structure. Well, we all share the same structure.
We still index ourselves against the structure. So
that's interesting. Like, really, when you think about that, you've got to. I love how you think about this stuff. Sorry.
Well, no, which actually directly leads us to Puar's book. But the equivalent that could be drawn here is, like, as you said, like the black artist. The problem is really with the term artist and the whiteness in that term. And similar to the family, right? Because you can have the family and you can have the queer family. Right? And the problem is with the term family. And the heteronormative notion of the family there, which is what Puar determines as homonationalism, which is that like queer families are possible, like are accepted, just like nation states can grow. And you can have different kind of versions, and you can include more nation states. You can include different models of family as long as they still identify as family. Right? As long as it's a queer family. And this is Puar determines as the good or bad queer. And the good is again largely emerging out of the left, and this idea that like the LGBTIQ rights, marriage equality, all these things that we do support. Obviously, again, this is the thing, we can support it and critique it at the same time. It's okay. Is a notion of a liberal fantasy on two levels. One, that queer families and queer people can contribute to the nation state. right? So that you can be a nationalist and patriot. You can pay your taxes. You can have property. You can have children. You can do all these good things that operate both at the level of the family and at the level of the nation state. And if you do those good things, then you are accepted, right? To some level. Or you'll never be completely accepted, like the black artist. You know, you're still going to be the queer family. But you'll be granted some access.
You're still part of the economic structure.
You're contributing to the economic structure. And then there are the bad queers. Again, I'm doing quote marks. People can't see them. Which operates both internally and externally. So within the nation state, the bad are the queer people who have sex in public. The ones who are homeless, you know, the trans kids who are like going against their parents, or have mental health issues or require support from the nation state or from someone else that isn't the family, right? That operate in different models that we don't like. So they can't be incorporated into the family internally, and then externally. And this is I think like something that I love this text for, and these two images are horrific examples of it, is this idea that queer people and queer rights is something that the West owns.
Yeah, I know, this is great.
So in other words, like the West is the only sphere of influence that can be progressive.
I just want to make this point. Go back 20 years, because I'm old, right?
Yeah.
Go back 20 years. No, say let's go back 30 years. This same image over here, right? But it wouldn't be queer rights. It'd be female rights.
Yeah.
We dehumanize the other because we say that the other does not believe in this.
Yeah.
So like we dehumanized the whole Arab world because they treated their women shit. Now we're saying the Arab world treats queer people shit.
Well, it's a civilizing claim, right? It's this same claim that has been made since the start of colonization from the West, which is like we are morally superior, and therefore we have a right, a duty, a moral duty to colonize, you know, to civilize, to bring progress, and that progress looks different and is like, as in like the language of what that progress looks like is different. And as you say, within the last like 20 to 30 years, when the invasion of Afghanistan and Iraq, it wasn't about queer rights. It was about women's rights.
So this image that you had at the beginning, the very first slide, which is fantastic to me now because I'm comparing it to this image. The cop lights at the beat, right? The police at the beat. The police, the military man, the soldier is the one saying that, hey, gay rights, you know, we're liberating you. It's a soldier. Right? It's not, you know, it's the cop.
It's the
cop that marches
it's the cop
on.
that polices what like queerness should look like.
Yeah, exactly.
And what is being liberated.
This is why we don't want police in the Mardi Gras.
Yeah. Exactly right.
Because, you know, like you police...
Let me give you a good example of that. So you remember like the year before the police were banned, Lydia Thorpe lay down and stopped the parade, right?
Lydia Thorpe,
amazing, right? What ended up happening there was that the organisers...
I think it was the same year.
No, it was the year before. And the police obviously were there. They not the police that were in the parade, but the police that were policing the parade, which is a thing in itself, removed her, right? Forcibly removed her. And so there was this policing, like literal policing of like what queerness could be allowed to disrupt the Mardi Gras. Go a year forward, and when a cop kills horrifically and horribly a gay couple, then the police are not invited. Right? What's the difference between those two things? Like, why is one policed and one's not? There's not an easy answer to that question, by the way.
I know.
But that is what's been talked about in this book, in Terrorist Assemblages, that there appears to be good and bad forms of queerness. And the Mardi Gras as obviously a site, like a very important historical site, and great that it's there. We can keep saying that. But it's also obviously a very important economic site. We also know that.
Like Vivid at the moment.
Like Vivid, yeah, absolutely. That these are complicated
boring
things.
is Vivid this year?
I
haven't even seen it.
Yeah.
I'm just bored of people talking about it.
Sorry. Yeah, no, it's fine.
But not to change this important topic. Sorry.
But also like in the, I think the image on the right here is even more interesting in that it does really collapse that. Even like the idea of like the rainbow flag as a flag and the fact that it's combined with the Israeli flag is like, this is exactly the point, right? That the notion of the nation state, a certain like democratic liberal fantasy, it is the only way within which we might understand queerness.